Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 74 of Podcast of Five Rings, your source of enlightenment in the realm of video game, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of Five Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes and SoundCloud, and talk about topic day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Friday. Catch updates about the podcast, or for other news, give us a follow on your social media platform of choice, listed in the description below. I'm your host, GM, and overseer of Podcast of Five Rings, Obsidian, joined tonight by the Dark Fortune Duelist Meta.
Hi guys.
I thought that was. I was like, all right.
You're throwing off.
Are you using a? Someone's using a soundboard.
No.
Someone's using a Sesame Street soundboard or something.
I have not heard soundboards in the longest time. Those are old.
Those are the Newground days, right?
Yeah.
We got the wall that will not fall, Tetsuo.
Hi guys.
All right, Mao. You're the resident wild card. Surprise me.
Hi.
Okay.
As always.
I'll give you a 3 out of 10.
Not enough
I was okay. There you go. Do we need to go through the whole the Vince McMahon progression chart and Mao surprising me, where it's like, fuck you. Okay. Then I fall back out of my chair. One of my favorite meme gifs compilation things of all time.
The Vince McMahon and the two guys, this father and the son. From
Oh my god,
American
I love
Shoppers.
that one too.
Yeah, American Shoppers. That's I'll probably have to put that one as my favorite, just because
That one's so good.
The more absurd the argument becomes, the better that little whole gif is.
Oh my! I haven't seen many unfunny ones of that. They're all great.
They're pretty good.
Oh my god.
Solid stuff.
So, what we didn't have an episode last week. We all met, and then realized there was absolutely nothing to talk about.
Nothing.
We were just—it was like the calm before the storm because we're waiting for all these games to come out. Tets has been doing nothing but playing Persona 5 up to that point.
Yeah.
That's his whole life, right? You're becoming like me. The anime is seeping into your veins. It's becoming. It's everything you are now.
You're gonna start praising Noctis soon.
We were already talking about waifus. Don't get me started, dude. I've got a lot to say about, even more to say about that now.
I know you do. I've been reading some of the stuff, trying to keep it as spoiler-free as possible, and that one moment right there is so absurd. That sweet, sweet little jab of his.
Yeah, it's. I told this to Matt. I will talk about it in the Kingdom Hearts topic, but I lost my shit. Predictably so.
Yeah.
Predictably, I'm assuming.
It is great.
Yeah. So yeah, what you guys been doing?
I've been watching my wife get her pants scared off. Oh man.
What better things in life are there?
His wife get her pants scared off.
It is honestly worth it to just go back and watch her play if you haven't, just because of the fact that even if you've played through the game yourself, she screams at everything.
I probably will tomorrow at work if I get some free time.
It's been pretty funny.
Yeah, just be careful with your headphones.
Yes. Just turn the sound down a little bit.
I've seen a few of the clips, so
it's been a ride.
Hey, I've got a quick mouse pointing finger. All right, I'll mute that shit in 0.2 seconds.
Oof.
Just so I get the shrill part at the beginning.
He's got the fastest mute button in the
Wild West. Yeah. What kind of business?
I don't know, muting.
Being at work and being lazy at business. Oh my god,
man.
it was a rough first day back today, but hey, this is what it.
Yeah, how are you dealing after 39 hours of living?
Well, let's just get right in here.
No.
No.
I mean, all I've been doing is waiting for and then playing Kingdom Hearts 3. So,
well, let's talk about Kingdom Hearts 3.
All right, let's get into
it.
Sons of Patriots, the end of the Dark Seeker saga. It's finally here, and that's not a spoiler because our Lord and Savior, the God himself, Tetsuo Nomura, has already told us this.
Okay, so question for you, just because we know, obviously, we joke about the fact that it's like it gets as complicated and convoluted as Metal Gear Solid, but it's super dense is really the bigger thing for it at times.
Yeah.
But
Honestly, taking a game individually, they become much easier to condense and understand. It's when you like try and piece it all together, it grows because there's 9-10 games. Like
I think
A
that's
lot.
actually right. There's a lot. It's
so we're
super
talking
dense.
about the third one, as in the newest, and not at all
Not
the
the
third.
actual third. Not even remotely close to the third.
Welcome to Nomura. Yeah. So
Do they like? The question really becomes. I want to start off right off with this question: does it get more convoluted, or does it feel like it answers a lot of things while still leaving some things
Yes.
unanswered?
and initially,
I kind of figured it was gonna be a both.
Yeah,
I figured it was gonna be both.
Initially, I was kind of almost disappointed that I didn't get some answers to some questions because I could have swore. I don't want to say anymore because it's even kind of spoilery. Just say that, but yes, it resolves stuff, and it does it. I was saying this earlier this morning in Discord. It resolves things in a much neater, not convoluted way than I was expecting. I was expecting the typical after Dream Drop Distance, everything's out the window as far.
I think he
I'm
probably course corrected after the ridiculousness that is Dream Drop Distance.
And even Birth by Sleep
just
added tons of
travel.
questions and
So
stuff.
yeah, questions were added. It's just the story of Dream Drop is just so ridiculous.
What
Once
is the
we started factoring in the time travel shenanigans?
Yeah.
Can you give me a TLDR on Dream Drop because I'm never gonna play it.
Okay, Dream Drop Distance. Let me start here, by the way. If you don't know what Kingdom Hearts 3 is, it's the adventures of Sora, Donald, and Goofy. It's a giant Disney, Square, Final Fantasy, everything crossover action RPG. So there's that. But Dream Drop Distance, the TLDR is the end of Kingdom Hearts 2. They get the letter from Mickey to get summoned. They end up going to see Yensid. Yensid, it's Sora and Riku. Yensid wants them both to take the Mark of Master exam because he knows that after Xemnas was defeated and Anthem, Seeker of Darkness, Xehanort's body reformed. He was reconstructed.
Because for some reason, if you defeat a Heartless and then a Nobody, the person reforms.
Exactly. So he's like, we have to prepare. Xehanort's coming. He's going to try to summon Kingdom Hearts again. You need to learn the power of waking through your trials so you can basically bring back Terra, Aqua, and Vin. So
Wait, you said he's going to summon Kingdom Hearts.
yes.
What
Master
is
Xehanort
that?
wants to summon Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts is the heart of everything. It will basically, by having access to it, gives you godlike powers.
Yeah, it's basically like the.
It's
It
the heart
actually
of the
explains. Yeah, and this game actually goes into a little bit more of Kingdom Hearts' role. It's more of just a weird abstract concept and metaphor. But yeah, so they go and they go in the exam. They have to go into the sleeping world to do it, and basically wake up sleeping worlds is their task. Sora and Riku work independently. You get to play as both of them, which is cool, in equal parts. But it's a handheld that doesn't play that well, and the Disney worlds kind of suck. So, and the story gets really messy.
The gameplay is I think the worst of the series.
Yes,
Really?
I would.
Yeah,
That or 358 probably. It's probably a little worse than 358.
358 is
358 is just boring. But
right.
so yeah, all that happens. They go to Disney worlds. They try to wake up the power of sleeping. Zigbar is back. He is already half Xehanort.
Everybody's half Xehanort.
Yeah,
at minimum.
Sykes is back in that game as well. The blue-haired guy.
Basically, Riku and Sora need to get stronger. Villains show up and explain that their Xehanort wants 13 Seekers of Darkness to combat 7 Guardians of Light.
Yeah, Guardians of Light to forge the Keyblade.
Kingdom Hearts, because it's all part of an ancient prophecy. And
to forge the Keyblade.
The Keyblade.
Yeah,
yes.
the Keyblade, not the Keyblade. The
Young
Keyblade.
Xehanort shows up because of time travel shenanigans.
Yeah. Basically, you remember the brown cloaked figure in Kingdom Hearts 1?
Yes.
You learn that is Xehanort's heart that he sent into the past.
His actual Heartless,
Yeah.
whereas Anthem, Seeker of Darkness is his Heartless possessing Riku.
possessing Terra, actually. Terra's body.
No.
You know, at
Riku.
some point, you guys will actually start to make sense and not get things more convoluted. for me.
No, Anthem Seeker of Darkness is possessing Riku.
No, he is, yes, but
Yeah.
it's in Terra's body.
Well, no. Terra Nort splits into a Heartless and Nobody. That's why they look
Yeah.
like Terra's body.
Yeah, it's Terra, isn't it Terra Nort? I thought Ansem is Terra Nort's nobody, and Ansem Seeker, Xemnas is Terra Nort's nobody. Ansem
Yes.
Seeker of Darkness is Terra Nort's Heartless.
Right, it's his Heartless, but the body has formed is around Riku, is all I was saying.
Okay, but
Like, that's why his other form is the brown robe guy. That's his original Heartless form.
It's kind of funny that you guys are having to like discuss this because it essentially punctuates. like,
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I think the whole
exactly.
drop distance was like a big part of it was just to retcon why he showed up as a brown robe figure in the game. Like,
And-
it gets a little too
Yeah.
like I have to explain everything.
Yeah,
sometimes just leave some things a mystery. Just leave them a mystery.
as says
sometimes.
2.8, the whole point behind 2.8 is explain why Mickey wasn't wearing a shirt at the end of Kingdom
Right.
Hearts 1. No,
Wow.
and just to route Aqua into the end of that game. But so yeah, they do that. Sora fails because Xehanort tries to possess him, nearly succeeds in doing so.
Yeah, tries to make him another one of the 13 Seekers of Darkness.
Yeah, and then to use him as a vessel, and Riku saves him, so Riku passes. And that's basically it. Then, like, Lee gets a Keyblade at the end of the game. There you go.
Yeah, or Axel has been revived as his human form Lee because
Yeah.
of massive fan appeal.
There's oh god, I can't wait to do a spoiler cast with you about
Yeah.
this game out. So yeah, and that
Why
that's it.
exactly is he such a fan? Like, why do people love
because
him?
Quentin
I love
Flynn,
him. Right.
Quentin Flynn
that's
and-
that's
Really?
not that's
He's
a
assassinated.
non-zero amount. Of,
Yeah.
He's basically just Kingdom Hearts Reno.
exactly.
He is.
No, he totally is. I think Nomura did that on purpose.
Probably.
So yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 is the continuation of this, and the
Yeah, it picks off literally right where Dream Drop ends.
yep,
Okay.
with
wow.
them going to Olympus Coliseum. So
Hmm.
yep, it there you go, and it's like I said, it was surprising. I took off 2 days' work to play this game that I've been waiting 13 years for, even longer than Final Fantasy 15.
I, for reasons, did not.
Yeah, I stayed
I
up
wish I did.
nearly 40 hours to complete this game straight. I did
I
not
wouldn't have
nap.
done
I
that.
stopped for breaks to get more caffeine.
You are.
I'm
dedicated.
insane
Yeah.
because I would literally spoil myself if I didn't at this point.
My
I had to get
willpower
through
is
it.
too strong.
It was rough. It got rough towards the end. But because one thing new about the game, to kind of segue into this, a lot of where I got kind of like what took me so long to beat it was there's a lot more to explore and do. The maps the Disney worlds are way bigger.
Way bigger, way more vertical.
Yeah, way more collectibles. There's more story. The worlds feel slightly longer to me than the older games too.
Well, there's less worlds.
yeah, so
overall.
you got to have more.
There are, 8 Disney worlds?
Yeah,
Or is
let's
it-
see. I don't want to say them all because for some people they might be, even the worlds themselves might be spoilers. Even though most of them have been revealed, I think all of them have been revealed. Honestly,
I think it's 7.
yeah. Yes.
'Cause I've done 3 and I'm pretty sure I've got 4 more.
Yeah. Yep.
Just 7
Disney
worlds.
worlds. There are some unique worlds.
Yeah.
Oh, just 7 Disney worlds. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I was like, wow, that's.
I
really
want to
small.
say 11 altogether, but so yeah, a lot of people going in were, you probably saw a lot if you followed Kingdom Hearts 3 like development at all. You probably saw a lot of people talking about floaty combat. People are worried that it was going to be very close to Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distancy, like the handheld, like
2.8, I think, was
yes.
what people assumed it was going to be like an exact replica of.
And 2.8 indeed does not play super fun. It's not like, it's very slow. And I'm happy to report that this is way, way, way closer to Kingdom Hearts 2 combat than it is that. I still think it's not as good as Kingdom Hearts 2 combat, but it's like one notch below. It's still really strong. I was surprised like how much I enjoyed the combat.
One thing is they've added so much over the years. Like there's so much going on in combat.
Yeah, it's really a love letter kind of to Kingdom Hearts up to this point. I think that's like the biggest takeaway I've took from playing it, because they try to include stuff from almost every game
take,
mechanically.
The best bits of everything.
Yeah, so you get flow motion from Dream Drop Distance,
which is one of the things I hated the most. Of Dream Drop Distance, and luckily they've like toned it down and like they put more conditions on it, because in Dream Drop Distance, if you just rolled into a wall, you would enter this flow motion thing and bounce around. And I hated it as someone who just likes to roll everywhere. If I accidentally touch something, I would just get locked into this bounce motion.
Yep.
Now you have to jump into the air first to like turn it on, basically, which helps a lot.
And it also makes you go faster if you can get good at it.
Yeah, if you know how to do it and stuff. Like,
yep.
What?
So you can...
I'm not actually familiar with flow-mo. What is that?
All right. So basically, they're like posts and stuff. You can in Dream Drop Distance, that was like the big new mechanic, was flow motion, where you collided with an object and you would basically like bounce off of it into enemies and hit them. You could use it to do like grinding on rails and
big
stuff.
Enemies and sling them around. You could roll into poles and spin around them and then shoot off of them. Or if you rolled into walls, you could then bounce off the walls.
Yeah.
And like in corridors, you could bounce between the walls and go down faster.
Yeah.
Oh, also slide on rails.
Yeah, it was basically they tried to incorporate the areas more into the mechanics and the fighting, but they didn't really hit the nail on the head.
They tried to make it like they tried to make skateboard mechanics without a skateboard.
Yeah, and they've really heavily focused on it. Like it was too like Mao said, it was way too easy to go into flow motion. It was really heavy-handed, yes. And in this one, it's way more subdued. You get a lot of abilities that are flow motion specific actions.
And you can even use spells, like you can use your Blizzard spell to activate like flow motion.
Yep, you can create little rails you can grind on with Blizzard.
But you
with
don't
arrow,
you're not
you can jump in the
into
air.
It. Like
exactly.
You can just not jump on the rail.
You don't have to do it. Literally in Dream Drop Distance, you had to do it, and there was some platforming built around flow motion as well. So this there is
it's
not.
Honestly, the biggest thing that put me off and why I didn't actually finish Dream Drop probably.
Yeah, Dream Drop was rough. So you got that. You got links and keyboard forms, which are very close to. I can't remember what they called them in Birth by Sleep. Where links are basically summons. Keyboard forms, you build a gauge just like Birth by Sleep in 2.8, depending on what actions you take. And your Keyblade will transform. You might get more powerful magic spell. Like basically, if you use fire a lot, you'll eventually fill up a gauge that will let you use Fira, the next level of fire, and cast it for no MP, essentially. And then when you get like Faraga and Blizzaga and stuff, you get Firaza, I think is the level 4 of the spell. And
yeah, you get upgrade versions.
Yeah, which is really neat.
Yeah.
The Keyblade forms are actually cool too. They also
they just transform into a different type of weapon, basically.
Yep, they have different properties. Like some will take away your ability to block, but it'll give you a much better air dash with like more iframes and stuff like that. They also each have their own shot lock. Shot locks are a mechanic from Birth by Sleep. They're kind of like a limit breaky esque thing. Just a really powerful attack. You have focus meter that you use to use your shot locks. You can basically use like 2 of them at like full power essentially. But there aren't forms like there was in Kingdom Hearts 2. There's not like Wisdom form or.
I mean, well, some Keyblades I guess give that because like your Kingdom Keys. Keyblade form was second form,
which is basically Kingdom Hearts 2, Sora.
Yeah.
Like you go into stuff that is like them. It's just not like.
It's not its own.
It's not. There's not like a focus bar that uses it. You don't get like.
There's also
abilities based on it.
Kingdom Hearts 2 as well.
So yeah, you got that stuff. That's pretty much. I think that's like most of the mechanic.
You can
stuff.
equip 3 Keyblades now.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So literally mid combo, you can go attack with like Kingdom Key. I switch mid combo to my magic Keyblade, use a few magic spells, then like go into the one that I want to use the Keyblade form for after to finish the thing, and then activate the form. Then you go there's nutso stuff you can do with the combat. It's pretty cool. Like that's like one of the when I realized you could do that, I was like, wow. That's awesome. Having the 3 different Keyblades you can equip and just switch to them mid combo. Like I didn't see that coming.
Oh, you also forgot the one other thing you forgot is the thing I think most people hate the most.
Attractions.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually don't mind them.
What are attractions?
So you go ahead, explain, Mal.
While fighting something, you might see a green like indicator around a specific enemy.
Okay.
And when you get, I don't actually know what the trigger is, but it happens anyway. Is it just when you're close to them eventually?
When you hit them. Yeah.
It gives you the option then to press triangle, and then you summon an attraction, which is like a Disney ride.
Yeah, Disneyland ride. Or
literally,
Disneyland
like
ride.
Splash Mountain, the teacups, the pirate ship that goes up and like swings you in an arc or whatever, to and fro. What are some other ones?
The carousel.
Yeah, the carousel.
Magic
stuff like that.
Mountain.
So they just look really pretty because they're all colorful and like lots.
It looks
of
like
lights.
Christmas lights everywhere.
Yeah, and then they do lots of damage, which a lot of people are just like they happen too often and they make the game too easy because they do a lot of damage.
You don't have iframes during them though, so you do have to be careful. Like if you're in a fight where Heartless, it's not really been an issue, but if you're like at low health and there's tons of Heartless around, it's kind of don't want to use one, but they do like ridiculous amounts of damage, and you do get them very often. So it does make things easy.
But you can always just not use them.
Exactly. You don't have to push triangle. It took me a while to figure out that you could cycle between your like forms and stuff.
Oh, I saw that as an early tip. Yeah, you can just cycle through the different triangle options with L2.
Yep. So yeah, I'm surprised how much I liked the combat in the game.
Yeah,
I was so worried it was going to be like 2.8, and it was not.
As someone who just played through like all of them semi-recently, it's definitely my favorite mechanic-wise since 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the games in between 2 and 3, like.
I'm glad that they didn't let Osaka get their dirty influences on it. The Osaka theme. So yeah, that's like the combat. Right off the bat, I'm just going to say this because Nomura's a troll. Right when you beat the first level, it's not really a spoiler.
Slight spoilers, I guess, if you want to go in blind. But
when you beat Olympus Coliseum, it flashes across the screen. Kingdom Hearts 2.9.
Well, I think it's actually before you go there.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, because it's that's the prequel area, but it's
you're still in his like Kingdom Hearts 2 outfit and stuff.
And I was just like,
I just went.
I am shook. Like, oh my god, I can't believe they did that.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
And
I've seen some pretty great reactions and memes and stuff on Twitter and whatnot.
Yeah, it's like, oh Nomura, I want to say about he gets way more like self-aware and referential. Axel, almost everything he says is like breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, that's what I saw a title that just kind of mentions that.
It's hilarious. I love the game is. I was saying this earlier in Discord too. A lot of the humor in the early games is fairly cringy. Kind of like hokey stuff, but like I think this one does a lot better and a lot more of the humor hits the mark.
Yeah, a lot of people have definitely mentioned how the humor definitely seems to just work better in this one.
Mm-hmm. Like one of the I haven't seen Tangled. You were talking about Tangled earlier. Tangled's probably my favorite level. I assume this was in
one of the funniest movies.
Yeah, I assume this was in the Disney version, but where she's like constantly going back and forth and like leaning on. It's just funny to see the random Kingdom Hearts characters inserted. It's like Sora just standing in the background looking at her, and like Donald Duck like walking through a field of flowers while she's like freaking out in the background. It was just kind of funny.
Yeah, he definitely this game is definitely self-aware of like the way Kingdom Hearts has just been discussed in the the zeitgeist of it all. Like
it's aware it has a convoluted story. It's aware that
Also, like Donald's just always dunking on Sora constantly.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. He's just always
they just rip on each other.
Yeah. It's especially early on. It's like Sora doesn't even fight back, but like later on, he starts fighting back a bit more. But yeah, like they just push him out of the way or tell him how much he sucks or whatever sort of stuff. Like,
yeah, it's like, well, you done and got possessed by Xehanort and lost all your powers again, Sora. It's like self-referential like that. It's like taking the piss out of itself constantly, which I love. It's like, how did you lose your powers again? You have to start all over and be weak again. And Pete's like, in the first level, like Pete and Maleficent show up, and they're like, we're here to do something. Oh, hey, Sora. He's like, what are you doing here? Are you the reason bad stuff's happening here? And they're like, you look scrawny now. You lost all your powers, didn't you? We don't even have to deal with you right now. They just like ignore him and go off into a dark portal. And he's like, what?
Wow.
They're like gung-ho ready to fight and stuff, and they're like just like, nope, we're not here for you.
Oh my gosh.
It's pretty great. It kicks off Olympus Coliseum was one of my favorite levels. It kicks off very action-packed and puts you right in the new mechanics and stuff. Like, another one is running on walls. I think that's like the last thing we forgot. It's not like that big, but again, you were talking about how the worlds are more vertical. That just opens up like the verticality, being able to run on walls and stuff.
Yeah,
like
there's
Spider-Man.
certain walls that like have a shimmer, an upward shimmer. I don't know how to really describe it, but it's just a noticeable effect on them that you can run up.
Huh.
Them and for the most part it's just to reach new levels, but there are some times where they use it like mechanically. It's involved.
Yep. Graphics. It looks. If you've seen the initial Kingdom Hearts 3 reveal graphics, back when they were on their Luminous engine, I believe. I think a year in development, they decided to switch to Unreal. It looks amazing. When I got to the first one, the dive to the heart sequence with the sky and the sea part, oh my god.
Yeah, it is a little weird, because you're so used to them in their older style.
Yeah,
and then even like Hercules, but it works so well when you go to the other world, like Tangled. It fits it so well. Yeah,
when the actual computer graphic animation, more Disney movies, it does. Like Pirates looks way better. It's not like a jarring contrast between like Donald Duck and Jack Sparrow. It looks a lot more like believable now when you get into Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's actually good.
It also helps they're also wearing like pirate stuff, so they look a little bit more dingy and like everyone. So they actually have costumes. I don't think they had costumes for Pirates World and Kingdom Hearts 2. I'm pretty sure they didn't. So yeah, like the Toy Story stuff and all that, it looks good. The music is
I'm not gonna
the
explain
best.
All the worlds. Proceeds to explain all the worlds.
Yeah. These are the early ones. And Pirates of the Caribbean's later, but whatever. I'm sorry if I spoiled them for you. But the music is really good. It's probably the best in the series. It's Yoko Shimomura, who did Final Fantasy 15. She also like Street Fighter 2, I believe back in the day, is like one of her first games. There's lots of really good remixes of old themes. The new theme, Dearly Beloved, in this, the title screen music is amazing. I always I remember getting Kingdom Hearts 2 and got a little bit choked up at the title screen music, and I got that feeling again, man, when I cut this game on. Yeah. Oh, I love these. I love this series so much.
Mm-hmm.
But
even the opening, like the opening cinematic song, like it was like a little shaky originally. It's like, oh, Skrillex, but man, that's definitely even growing.
It's
on me.
real. The new opening is very. When you see the full opening, it's way
It works
better.
with the cinematics so well.
Yeah.
Is it
What?
better than when they showed off the when they first showed it? Because
Yes,
I'll
it's
admit,
way
I was
better.
Okay, that's because the first. I remember seeing that the first time, and I was sitting there, and I'm like, this is all right.
I
but,
love the part
man.
where young Xehanort forms into old Xehanort, and it matches so well with the music at that part. Like, where it shows his face over the chessboard, he puts the piece down, and he shifts to old Xehanort. Oh, man.
Also,
That song has made Billboard's Top 100 this week.
Which is crazy.
wow, that's
Yeah.
insane.
I mean, it debuted at numbered like 98, 96, 98, I think.
Mhm.
So who knows if it'll even be on there next week. But it's still pretty impressive considering it's the 4th time a Japanese artist has ever been on it.
Yeah.
The 100 Billboard.
Yeah.
So that one's grown on me. I still don't think Schwa's better, the other song in the game. But
that one's really that one's
yeah.
definitely I prefer more.
Yeah. So
Also fun fact, I guess also Skrillex is a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, and possibly his name might actually be a Kingdom Hearts reference. In the past he says it means nothing, but he might have just been too embarrassed to say it because it literally is killers with an X, like the Organization 13 style.
Oh my
name.
god.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah.
All right, so I've talked about nothing but positives. There are some, at least for me, there's a few negatives. There are parts where the camera is a little bit frustrating, in my opinion, for like a very fast action game. Like later on, more so when you start getting to some weird mini gamey fights. Some of the worlds are very mini gamey.
Actually, for me, it's the lock-on specifically. I just end up kind of not using it. 'cause
Yes.
that caused me the camera issues.
That's
If
what I was
don't
going to
lock
say
on-
next.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the enemies are like dashing around really fast and stuff, some of the bosses, if you're locked onto them, your camera will literally just bork itself and go.
Yeah, lose control of what's going on.
Yeah, it has like no clue what's happening.
Really? That sounds.
It sucks.
Yeah, but I also I saw one of those 10 tips for playing Kingdom Hearts, and one of them was just just don't use the lock on, or at least don't rely on it. Like it's good to maybe center yourself on where an enemy is, but then I just click it right back off.
Yeah. Like that was one. There's one world in particular. It probably also didn't help. It's a later world that I was at I think the 25 or 26 hour mark of being up and was going.
So maybe you're getting a little punch drunk.
Yes, and one world was rough to get through. It's the part where I had to just go. I just need to plow through the game and stop exploring.
Yeah.
Because it's very open and it has a lot of mini games, and I was starting to get a little bit frustrated, and I was about to go. I'm just going to go to sleep, but then I wouldn't finish the game before I had to go back to work if I did that. So I just powered through it. I took a break. I took a shower. I went to get some breakfast and get some more caffeine, and then I came back and plowed through it. That was a rough part. And yeah, it's just a little bit not as fun as Kingdom Hearts 2. That's not it's still really good, so it's not like a knock. It's like a nitpicky con kind of
Some criticism.
Yeah, I'm surprised that there was a not critical mode. I don't really care, but I can't remember if the past games didn't launch with critical or if that was a final mix only
I don't
thing.
know.
I can't remember.
I know a lot of people are saying it's just really easy in general. The game.
Yeah,
Even on its proud mode.
That's kind of a thing. I think I only died in the world I was talking about. I didn't die at any other point. And that was only because I failed mini games. It was technically a game over because I went to the game over screen, but I never died in combat. I got close a few times, but so yeah, it's really easy. So if you want a challenge, you're probably not really going to find it here unless you do level 1 challenge runs and stuff like that. Which I heard that apparently the chip damage isn't as good as it was in Kingdom Hearts 2 for those. It's just really low chip damage. So, yeah. I had one. I forgot what I was going to say. One's kind of spoilery, so I won't talk about it. But There was also like not as much. I was kind of like hoping like you would get Zantetsuka and some of the old classic moves. This is also more nitpicky, but you never get the like that kind of stuff. At least like you only get Sonic Blade in second form.
Yep.
So there aren't like specific command.
Yeah, you don't equip
things.
moves.
Yeah.
Like that anywhere.
You still get like the platforming-esque ones like double jump and air slide and stuff like that.
I guess you do. Yeah, sorry. There are abilities. They're like combo finisher ones, but they're not older ones. They're newer ones.
And they're not as profuse as the like Kingdom Hearts 2, where you would literally get like probably 8 different combo finishers you could equip and go through for different situations. Some of them are like a lot of them are worked into the Keyblade forms for different like finishers and stuff. So that's kind of where you get your variety. It's more like the Keyblade you equip than the abilities.
Yeah,
themselves.
that's true.
There's a lot of
The
abilities
Keyblade
too.
points have their own special finishers.
Like I think I finished the game with like 160 AP. There are a lot of abilities.
Wow. Holy.
Yeah.
And are they just picked up like they normally were in the old games, or are there new ways to learn them now?
You learn them by leveling up, and
Okay.
I think it's pretty much like the old game. Beating some bosses unlock some. So
there are some equipment there's some equipment that'll give you
yes
abilities as well. Like I know there's elemental cufflinks that'll give you a stronger version of a spell.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So yeah, you got that stuff, but I don't want to talk about anything story wise because it's just you can't really without spoiling anything, and we're going to do a spoiler cast now. We have to. There's so much stuff I want to talk about as far as like the story that I just can't.
All right, I just need the weekend. By the time this comes out,
I'm only going to say this is very satisfying. I was worried that they weren't going to end it well. This part of the saga, and it was a very satisfying conclusion for me. I'm curious how you're going to take it. I'm curious how you're going to take it. So I was very happy with the ending, and
I'm sure I'll be happy.
Yeah, and all right, and that's my thoughts. I give it a strong 8 out of 10 if I had to rate it.
I'm way too enfranchised to ever be able to adequately grade this objectively, like sort of thing. Like, there's no way anything this year is going to be able to top it for me. Just out of when you factor in all the feelings around this series and stuff, like
that's what I said earlier. That's why I said it's going to be really hard. Like the games that have a chance are Sekiro.
Yeah.
And
for me, if you were to like weight gameplay more than just like, story and like just nostalgia type stuff.
Yeah.
Like you're just more objectively like weigh it from gameplay aspect, like Sekiro, and if Cyberpunk comes out this year could be like my game of the year, but just
it's an experience.
A lot going on. Yeah.
It's hell experience. It was worth waiting for 13 years. More so than Final Fantasy was worth waiting 10 years for. It's more worth the 13-year wait. I was very pleased.
We're going to talk about all that Final Fantasy 15 with the spoiler cast.
It's a teaser. Like it's like a fan thing. So we can talk about it if you want to, or do you want to save it for then?
No, we can save it.
Okay. I just want you to know something. The king is back, baby. That's all I got to say. The king is back. All right,
there you go.
Let's get on to Meta, who also has a very cool new release game that he wants to talk about.
Yeah, we'll just jump right into this one. RE2 came out. It's great. All right, we're done.
RE2, the remaster.
The remaster.
RE2
just released 7, and they're like, oh yeah, we forgot to 2.
So yeah, well, it's actually I don't even think it's a remaster. I think it's called the remake. Not even.
It's like a full. It's a full.
Yeah, from the ground up.
Because like as we're learning how to apply these terms to games as developers come along, eventually we'll get a standard operating procedure on this. But
I think it's pretty standard. I just misspoke.
Nah, I guess it's point. That's not a big deal. Anyway, the point is it came out. It's great. There's nothing else to be said. It's perfect. 10 out of 10. Let's put it up in the Hall of Fame. We're done. That's my topic. Good. Let's move on.
Wait, is there a game Hall of Fame?
All right. Well, since you asked, Mao.
But I don't know more, Meta.
I want to know more.
What is a Resident Evil?
Well, you see, it's somebody who's a resident within your area, and they happen to be evil on the spectrum of the alignment axis.
It's a really bad roommate.
It's a really bad roommate. So, Resident Evil, if you've been living under a rock and don't know about one of Capcom's longest standing franchises within the gaming world, Resident Evil, which actually has a different name called Biohazard in Japan.
Biohazard.
Biohazard is a game essentially about zombies and you trying to survive the zombies. This came out way before the huge zombie craze in the 2000s.
98?
Hey man, it's not just
96?
about that. I think Wesker's come back more times than Xehanort has. I'm just saying.
We'll get into Wesker, won't we? But yeah, I'm trying to look up the original Resident Evil now, but it's been the first one came out
Like
in
96?
March
Yeah.
22nd, 96. With the
Hey.
latest one just being literally last week and the 25th, so you can guess.
And like Kingdom Hearts, there have been quite a few games that don't have numbers
Yeah,
attached.
there's a lot.
So there were quite a few games.
Thankfully, unlike Kingdom Hearts, though, they didn't drop the numbering issue until actually after the third game, which came out in 1999, and they didn't come back to the numbering until 2005 with Resident Evil 4. But Resident Evil is essentially a series about a group of individuals finding out that there's zombies in their midst in some shape or form and attempting to survive while figuring out what's going on, defeating the big bad guy, quote unquote, at the end, and somehow connecting it to the parent company called Umbrella. Who in the real world is just this awesome corporation who does cosmetics and tries to make you look more youthful and whatnot. In reality, they're working with a super secret agent virus that'll turn your flesh into zombie eating type flesh, the kind that you want to murder people for because you want to taste their yummy brains.
If I look good.
Yeah, it's a kind of campy game series. It kind of is very aware that it's trying. It's not going to be taken too seriously. But the game was marketed really well for the fact that it is a survival horror, a genre that's kind of died off for a very long time, and is only starting to recently kind of come back.
I mean, even Resident Evil kind of was like going
Yeah.
away from it until 7. Like 5 and 6 are way different.
5 and 6 are completely.
We don't
different
talk about
beasts.
5 and 6 here.
Yeah,
Or 5 and man-flating giraffe.
I mean, even though Silent Hill,
I love that meme.
Jeez.
Ah.
I mean, the genre in itself though, it kind of has just gone away. Even Silent Hill was kind of like the other big contender for the survival horror type thing,
Mhm.
though a little bit more psychological than actual survival. But the point being is that like a lot of these kind of games just stopped really showing up. A lot of people like more action. But Resident Evil 7 came out, and that kind of really brought it back to the roots of what survival horror is. And then RA2 remake came out, and so here
It
we are.
sold 3 million copies so far.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking insane. I mean, because you have to kind of like pulling us back to the year 1996. The game Resident Evil has dropped down into your store. You go and buy it, knowing that you're probably going to have to play this game for a long time, but you're dedicated to it. And it was a whirlwind, a rush of excitement. Then you find out, 2 years later, Resident Evil 2 is coming out, and the hype was real for a game in 1998. People talked about it. No, this is serious. People actually talked about Resident Evil 2. You could talk to people and they're like, "Oh shit, you hear about Resident Evil 2 coming out? I can't wait." It was legit hype, and it came out. And it was really well done. They took a lot of they kind of took everything on Resident Evil and just polished it for Resident Evil 2. And it was a really good game. And Resident Evil 3 was only better than that. Which apparently, if Resident Evil 2 does really, really well, they're probably going to remake Resident Evil 3. So
I think it's safe to say that that's doing very well.
Yeah, it's doing incredibly well. So obviously we picked up the game. I'm not a big super fan of Resident Evil itself. In fact, this is the first Resident Evil game I've actually played myself. But I am very well aware of the love for people that have Resident Evil or who have played Resident Evil, and I've followed a lot of it. For just the love of what it kind of represents and what it is. But the game itself, we picked it up, and I kind of like asked Lily because we were like, want to pick up Resident Evil 2 Remake. It looks amazing. I was following a lot of, the information coming out for it. I was looking at the cinematics, and I was, this is amazing. This feels like a really scary game to play that I haven't played in a long time, because the last scary game that I played that really truly felt scary was Amnesia: The Dark Descent, which was years ago. So seeing this, I was immediately hooked. So we picked it up. We have been playing it and streaming it for the past week now, and I am in love with every moment of it. I have been watching other streamers play the game as well. Never anything past what we have streamed ourselves, because I kind of want to keep that. I don't want to really spoil anything for myself here. But I've been enjoying it. It's amazingly fun to watch and play. Lily has been currently playing the game thus far, though. She decided she wanted to play Leon. I said, well, if you play Leon, you're going to have to play first. And she's like, all right, that's fine. And she's commenced to scream her head off every single time. It's been a wild ride. The game is really well done. There's all. If looking at the game just from a design standpoint, they have done a wonderful job with both lighting and graphics. The ambience is phenomenal. It really does set the mood. Sounds in little tidbits, even the noises, they just throw you off. They always keep you on edge. And the safe rooms, while they are safe, always kind of just is kind of this small claustrophobic area that kind of just reminds you that you're going to be stepping back outside where all the zombies are and where possible problems might arise.
Certain death.
So yeah, you're always, there's really no sense of true safety in the safe room, because you have to, in order to beat the game, you're going to have to go back out. So it's kind of everything you want in a horror game to be. You're just always on the edge of your seat. They've done wonderful justice to a lot of the creatures thus far. Yeah, I mean, if you've played the original RE2, then you're going to know about Mr. X, which is now, he's named Tyrant now. I think he was actually originally named Tyrant as well, but almost, I think every character canonically has referenced him as like either, I think Leon even called him Trenchy one time. But they got him. Lickers come around, and Lickers are scary as crap. They are absolutely terrifying, and they are doing well for the justice of what they are. The zombies are wonderfully designed. They are creepy. They bumble about, but they are always on. They're never like quick to pivot or spin on the dime, so to speak, but they will turn to try to grab you a little bit quicker. Some of them have different ways that they work. They kind of have little different mechanics associated with them. Well, subtle things, nothing large, but some might get like a burst of speed to grab you. Others might suddenly be able to twist around to snatch at you because you think you can run past them and you're fine, and then they'll be able to suddenly switch around and grab you. Some of the other ones will kind of bob and weave more than others, making it harder to hit them, and sometimes making that in and of itself a bigger threat. Small stuff, but always stuff that feels appropriate. But that gives them a little bit of flavor while still keeping what they are, terrifying creatures that will eat your face there forever. Zombie dogs are back. Obviously, they're terrifying as well. There's other creatures that are along the way that I do know are back in the game because, well, they were pivotal parts of the original game. But suffice to say, and the point being is that all the enemies are awesome. They're immensely well done. Especially Mr. X, who
His memes-tastic.
Who is absolutely memes-tastic. He decides to break one of the rules of the game, which is he can go into the main hall where no other creature can normally go. He decides to say piss on that rule, and that he's going to find you unless you are actually in a safe room.
And even if he sees you go into a safe room, he'll follow.
Apparently he will follow you into a safe room if he sees you go into that safe room. So he's incredibly scary. He's incredibly dangerous. He will hunt you down, and he will find you, and he will deliver his prime package to you, 1-day shipping.
T-Virus is a hell of a drug.
X is gonna give it to you.
Yeah.
So that in that area, it's just been an absolute blast. We've had a lot of fun. There's a lot of great stuff. I can't wait to see where more of the game goes. It's very faithful to the original design, because if you played the original game, you can kind of see like that the police station in and of itself is very much almost I almost want to say a 1-to-1, but it's not really. They had to change some stuff up, but it's almost kind of this 1-to-1 look of what the station was in the original game. But some things have been modified and changed around to just better suit, I guess, the design and the architecture of it. Not to say that the game makes much sense as an architectural design, because there's obviously secret, passageways and other such places abound, which doesn't really make any sense in the real world. But it's Resident Evil, and what would a Resident Evil game be without having to unlock the door with the red club key or whatever? So there you go. You can obviously play as Claire and Leon, just like the original game. You can play both the A story for them, and then when you beat the A story, you unlock the B story for them, which is a different story style for them, which kind of takes them through a different route, sets up creatures in different areas. It gives kind of a fresh new take on the whole events of everything that are happening, and so on and so forth. So it's actually kind of interesting. I think even some of the cutscenes are changed a bit, to modify. Like for one of the cutscenes, in Leon's A story, you'll go up to this gate where Claire is on the other side. And you guys kind of talk to each other. But in the B story, Leon will approach from that side, and Claire will see him from the other side. The helicopter will crash into the building, like normal, but they're on opposite sides of the gates and talking with each other. But the same events still happen behind them, but they say different things and whatnot.
Always
So
like
it's
that
kind of
stuff in games.
yeah,
kinda neat.
it's really cool. So there's stuff like that that's like really interesting, and I'm very glad that they kind of kept in the whole A and B, and whatnot. Obviously, they've got the grading system. You can go from B, A, S, or S plus rank, which the only difference between B, A, and S is that is how fast you beat it, beat the storyline on it. But S plus actually has a number of little other conditions on it. They have 3 different difficulty modes, which is kind of nice. You've got assisted mode, which is essentially weaker zombies. You have aim assistance, and there's more items abound. You also regenerate a little bit of health. Once you're kind of in a safe area and away from any immediate danger, you'll regenerate some health. You'll never go back into fine, but you'll always be in caution. On standard mode, you get your kind of standard gameplay, and then hardcore. Zombies are very nasty. They're very tough and difficult. You are not, whenever you try to craft up ammo, you are not given anywhere near the same amount that you would in the other difficulties, so on and so forth. So it's a very nice mixture, and obviously the zombies will just eat your face in like bites. You can pretty much die quickly. Obviously, being these on different difficulties give you unlock really cool stuff. You get infinite weapons and whatnot, and up to including infinite rocket launcher and infinite minigun ammo, respectively, for Leon and Claire, who have different guns. Leon gets access to Matilda, which is kind of like your just standard 9mm handgun, and then from there he gets access to a shotgun. He gets access to a Desert Eagle knockoff, and then the rocket launcher. Whereas Claire gets access to a regular handgun, submachine gun, grenade launcher, and what is essentially called like the shock spikes, I guess. I don't know. It's like a charge. It's a really weird weapon. I don't really know what it is. And then there is the minigun she gets, I think, at the end of the game. So it's really good stuff. Scary as crap. I am absolutely in love with it. I think it's probably by far way better than I thought it was going to be, because I knew it was going to be good. I could just tell, but it's been way better than I really thought it would be.
I'm surprised you haven't played a Resident Evil game.
It's never been my jam. Like, believe it or not, while I enjoy the games, never been really my thing to play. It just
I
never...
love 4.
Like a lot of people say 4.
Yeah, 4. I think it was definitely the fan or the most popular one.
Yeah,
Played 1, 2, original 1, original 2, and 4.
It's
People do love Leon.
Oh, they do love Leon. Yeah, 5 and 6 were kind of weird compared to it. I'm glad they did this remake though, because this remake is really well done. It supports both, obviously, controller and mouse and keyboard if you've got it on the PC. I would say though that having played a little bit, because I've been every now and then when we get done with the stream, I think I've only done it twice now. I've kind of played around with the game because I kind of wanted to just know what I'm doing. I tested out mouse and keyboard, and while the controller is nice, and you can definitely kind of see that more classic way of playing the game, you make your life way harder just because of the controller. Because with mouse and keyboard, you're able to take out enemy creatures so much easier. It's actually disgustingly easy how quickly the game can actually be probably beaten with all the ammo that you get through rather easily, even on the harder difficulty. Just because of the mouse and keyboard. It's
always the go-to for shooters, man.
It is, and well, I mean, there's a reason for it, obviously.
Yeah.
It's that more precision aiming, but a lot of the shots I've noticed that, like, a lot of times what ends up happening to most players, they just end up missing shots, and that's the waste of ammo. And they tend to miss on maybe a 40, anywhere from between 50 to 30% of their shots, and that's a lot of ammo in a survival horror game, which is what this game really, really focuses on being is that you have to save your ammo. You have to decide, is it worth the fight this creature? Is it not worth the fight this creature? Do I have to fight this creature? Can I just kite them around in a circle, until I can get to what I want? That kind of question is really important for the game. But with a mouse and keyboard, I feel like that's really not a question anymore. It's like, yeah, I could probably just shoot everything as I come across it. So I am loving it. I think it's probably gonna be one of my favorite games this year. I'll probably put it in my top
Yeah, it'll probably be in a lot of people's game of the year discussion for sure.
Yeah, they've also already announced DLC for it. Ghost Survivors, which is supposed to be this mode where you take on essentially the tale of 3 other people who tragically meet their untimely demise during the outbreak. With the first one being apparently the gun store guy that you meet like in the beginning of Resident Evil 2. He ends up getting like nommed on zombies after I think shortly meeting either Claire or Leon in it. I can't remember which one first. But he ends up getting nommed on, but you gotta get to play his story before that happens. You get to play as the mayor's daughter, who gets I think her untimely demise is met at the hands of Chief Iron, who's kind of in on the whole Umbrella Corporation thing that's behind Raccoon City. And you also play as the Forgotten Soldier, who lives up to his name. He's a Forgotten Soldier. Nobody really knows anything about him, so he's probably the only character that has maybe a small bitter piece in the game that I'm not fully aware of. But the mayor's daughter and the gun store guy are probably the ones that I remember the most. So they're apparently getting their own mode, and from what they described, the way it works is it's kind of a little bit RNG-ish. There are certain aspects or factors that are kind of randomized, but they want to, from what we can tell, it almost looks like to be slightly randomized, enough RNG that you kind of have to know what you're doing from the get-go, but to keep it fresh, but not so much that it wouldn't make like a speedrun fun, which is apparently something that I guess they may have mentioned. I don't know if that's just from hearsay or news articles taking on, their own wording for it, but apparently potentially making speedruns a more fun thing to do. I don't know, but it looks like really cool, fun DLC. It's going to be free, which is the biggest surprise, and it's coming out in February, in the middle of it, I think. I don't know if there's an actual date for it or not, but I'm looking forward to it. Once, obviously, Lily gets done with Leon, and then I can jump on to play as Claire.
Holy moly. There's already 21 speedruns on the leaderboard just for Caress percentage.
Yep.
Jill's percent has... Holy 72.
I'm actually looking.
Oh, that's Resident Evil 1. I'm sorry.
I'm actually looking forward to this game being on like GDQ and whatnot, because this game is really fun.
I bet it'll get into SGDQ just because it came out right after HGDQ.
Yeah,
gives enough time for stuff to happen.
I'm absolutely hoping, and because it's in the perfect timing, it'll come out for SGDQ, and then we come around at the end of the year for the next GDQ. It'll be there probably because they'll found out like lots of glitches and whatnot. But they'll have a lot of time to try to figure out the best way to run this thing. It's gonna be a lot of fun, I bet.
Yeah, Leon hardcore S+ speedrun in an hour and 19 minutes.
Yeah, I mean that's because a big part of the whole game is that you go through it on these harder difficulties, and that in order to get those S+ ranks, you have to perform under certain criteria, which kind of pushes you towards playing speedrunning on it. So I'm sure it'll get some love in the crowd, and then just because it's Resident Evil 2. So yeah,
one guy is going in hard on this game. He's got a bunch of Trance's channel on YouTube.
I'm not even surprised.
So
there's a lot of people.
Yeah, Resident Evils are beloved speedruns too. They're one of the more popular series of speedruns. So
it's pretty fun. Speedrunners really find out the little nits and bits that do it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much Resident Evil 2 remake in a nutshell. It's been I've already said it like 3 times now, but I really do like this game. It's a lot of fun. Even if I'm just letting Lily play and kind of like trying to help her along and give her all the aid I can, because she does bumble, bless her heart, but she bumbles.
That's an insult down here in the South meta. Bless your heart.
I know.
Them's fighting words.
Them's fighting words.
Yeah. Man, there's something about survival horror games. They're just so fun. That might be like the best genre to just watch other people play.
It is. Survival horror is really. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. If you've played 5 or 6 Resident Evil, those kind of like action horror games, they can be fun, but they're generally fun when you play with other people and kind of just bum around and play them. But in and of themselves, I mean, the whole point of a horror game is that you have to feel vulnerable. If you don't feel vulnerable, it's not really a horror game. You're just using horror creatures in an action game.
Yeah.
And I feel RE2 does an absolute job of making you feel vulnerable.
Fun to watch people get scared, man.
Oh yeah,
the spoopy stuff.
Like I said, we've been streaming that hard, and Lily gets spoopily scared, spoopily easily. So.
Get your Duke spooked.
Oh my god! All right, you memer.
All right. So now it is Tess's turn, and I know he's been really excited to talk about these Switch 2.0 mini rumors that are going around, so you can finally get one.
Yeah.
Have you not heard those? They're actually making a cheaper Switch, supposedly.
Yeah, I did hear about them. It's really weird.
But anyways, what is your topic, Tets? Lay it on us.
Well, I mean, I figured since the two of you guys were talking about like big name games, I thought I would talk about another big name game, Stralink Battle for.
Yeah, that build up.
Yeah.
No.
Did not realize it was out.
What is this?
No, actually, prelude to what it is.
Star Fox.
The only reason why I know that it was out was because the starter set, which is $75, which we'll get into in a minute as well, was on sale Amazon Prime for $20, and that's the only reason why I got it and why I was able to even know what it is.
It's the game with like the physical spaceships that you saw at E3 in the past.
It is, yeah. It's a Toys to Life game similar to Skylanders and Lego Dimensions.
Destiny. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah. Anyway.
There's the Disney one, but
Disney Infinity.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Infinity. That's it. Yep. So essentially, what the style of the game, the feel of it is, you buy these ships, and sometimes they'll have weapons. You can also buy weapon packs and pilot packs and the whole 9 yards, and you get this little thing that you attach to your controller to read the ship itself. And the idea is that you're able to, as you play, you can take weapons off of the model that you have and put on new weapons and switch out your elements that way and change out your pilot mid-flight. And kind of customize what you're doing on the fly based off of how many of these toys you've bought. This is kind of the Cliff Notes version of the game. It is in that vein. The sci-fi, it draws a lot from early ideas of No Man's Sky without the negative aspects that No Man's Sky brought to its early life, I guess, whatever you want to say about that. No Man's, wherever you are on No Man's Sky, which from what I hear, it's actually
No Man's Ski. Yeah, that's what I've heard as well.
I haven't touched it in a long time. I should get back on it, but anyway, they actually do draw a good bit from that. In the whole sense of, you have these ships, you're flying in space, you can go down to planets, scan things, learn about the local wildlife, the plant, and etc., etc. But where it improves on that, you actually have a story that you're doing, which again makes sense because it's just drawing from No Man's Sky as opposed to being a, I guess, copy or whatever. The story isn't exactly complex as you'd expect from a Toys to Life game. It is you're going on these planets. This evil mastermind is trying to take over the universe by controlling this ancient technology, and you're trying to stop him. That's about the whole of the story. Yeah, and you just jump between the planets and do your little missions. The biggest draw to it is the idea that you can, again, buy these toys. You can get digital copies of them if you want, if you don't want the toys themselves. The idea is you can buy the toys and just, flip out on the fly. It does have same couch co-op, which is nice. You don't see too terribly many games these days that have that.
Mm-hmm.
And so you guys can just, pile up all your weapons and just grab from there depending on what you do. So that being said, there are a lot of puzzles in the game, which seems kind of interesting. One of the things that kind of attracted me to it was you have all these puzzles to the game based off of spaceships, which was kind of a little bit unique, but it's more around what weapons you're using, so not as unique as I was hoping. So it'd be like, you need to use this element weapon to get into this vault, or you need to use that type of weapon in order to beat this type of opponent that's guarding this treasure or whatever. There is a little bit of, because of that, you need to buy like the expansion packs and stuff, but you can probably get away with just the starter set and one of the expansion packs that has the two, because the starter set comes with fire and ice, and the other two are gravity and stasis. And there is a weapons pack that has those two weapons in it. So you could get by just doing those. But it is still, you have to buy these items in real life in order to access them in game. Which, some people aren't entirely too terribly happy with. On paper, I don't like it either. But I really like the ship designs, and the collector nerd in me actually really kind of likes them as figures to put in my office with my Gundam.
Well, that's what they're going for.
Exactly.
That's what they're trying to
start target audience.
Yeah.
It really is. That being said, the ship designs look really good. In my opinion, anyway. I really like the way that they've designed these things. And I think, again, because they've designed them with having them as physical paraphernalia in mind, they look good. They look really good. Yeah. They're one of the nicer things, I guess it's nice in the sense of a saving grace, I guess. Whenever you buy a ship, you can use it for the Switch version, the Xbox version, and the PlayStation version. You don't have to buy a specific version for your console, besides the base game. With the exception of one of the ships. The Switch has a console exclusive in the R-Wing. The base game actually comes with Fox McCloud and an R-Wing, so it has a little bit of a story add-on, which explains why Star Fox, Peppy,
Falco,
Falco and Slippy, why they are here in the Atlas system. I don't think it's that long. I think it's only a couple levels or something like that, but it is a little bit of extra content. I feel like the Switch did make out in that sense, that they get an additional ship and a little bit extra content, but it's not much. It's not a crazy amount or anything like that. But yeah, it's been pretty entertaining so far. I haven't played too much into it. As I said, I picked it up because it was on a crazy sale on Amazon. It still is as of this recording. I don't know if it will be when this recording actually goes live, but usually it's $75 and it's on sale right now for $25. So 20 or 25, one of the two.
Mao. Take us home.
Well, I suppose I will finish off this video game quartet. But I shall be talking about board games that is not out yet. Just because we've it is Anthem, which we've been getting a lot. The news train has been ramping up as we get closer and closer to release. And I think it was one of the things, like one of the discussions we had last week is where we're going to talk about this, because we ended up with quite a bit to talk about, I guess, but we didn't want to just talk about that. Right. So
I'm glad we waited, because how about the stress testing on their servers? Huh?
Get that out of there now.
That was kind of the big issue going into the VIP
they
demo.
They had a VIP demo, and they apparently did the opposite of what what was it? No Man's Sky did. Whereas No Man's Sky was like, yeah, it's got multiplayer, and then someone ran the network traffic through and prove that they don't. Well, that
Oof.
same guy ran the network traffic for this and found out that they had too much multiplayer. Somehow they kept resending the same amount of info way too often or something, and they ended up DDoSing themselves.
Holy moly.
But yeah, apparently so, and there was a bug for like 95% loading, which I think both of those are supposed to be fixed for the public one that will have already ended by the time this recording goes up. Yeah. So Anthem is a sci fantasy game developed by BioWare. It is a third-person looter shooter.
Third person, that's the key
Right,
word
for
there.
OBS, yeah.
Me.
It has definitely gathered, like, people have definitely compared it to Destiny, just based on, it's sci fantasy whatever ish, and it is a multiplayer focused game. But it's probably like, I don't know how similar it is going to be to Destiny in the end. They've really been talking about gameplay as the focus, but as far as story wise and in-game even content, they've been kind of tight-lipped on. Like the story, the broad strokes of the story so far we have is, humans are on this planet that long ago the Shapers had, created all this advanced technology and this powerful energy called the Anthem of Creation to do whatever they wanted. And which is like the backdrop of the planet, and then humans are mostly live in, or at least the one that it takes place in is in this fort city called Tarsus. And to leave the city you have to pilot these like Iron Man style suits, javelins, which is the big focus of the gameplay. You go out as a
Flying
freelancer,
around.
fly around in your suit, blow things up. Yeah, the demo we got some news on gave some more it was the very early game story stuff, I guess, so we got some background information, but yeah, the big focus has been just on gameplay. There's 4 different javelins, which are like your classes, though they don't fall into the typical trinity of MMO classes. You've got your versatile all-rounder javelin called the Ranger. It doesn't really excel at anything, but it's supposed to be quite versatile. There is the giant thick boy Colossus.
Everyone's favorite.
Right.
Don't have to worry about explaining the rest after Colossus.
It is just a giant hunk of metal that can
Hulkbuster.
Yeah, it looks like a
Hulkbuster,
Hulkbuster almost, that just has heavy artillery strapped to it. And then they also have the Interceptor, which is a very lightweight, quick, zippy suit that has is the only one that really focuses on melee builds. And then even if you don't do melee, it's a lot of close range abilities and stuff. And then there's the Storm, which is kind of magic-y. It uses a lot of elemental focus, and gameplay wise can hover for longer than other people and stuff. And I know it's Tats and Meta, I know, are definitely feeling the Colossus.
Oh hell yeah.
I do love myself a giant mech.
Giant
The
mech
bigger the better.
stand on the opposite side of the map and just nuke them from orbit.
That's right.
I'm either going to be Interceptor or Ranger, one of those two.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I thought you were feeling the Storm originally.
I was, but
Ah,
melee appeals to me too much, and then
I see.
I like the look of the Ranger suit. Actually,
Yeah, the
so-
Ranger's just got it's the most Iron Man looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm either feeling the Ranger or Storm the most, although the Colossus is also tempting. I don't really care about
Yeah.
the Interceptor. So, and then the suits themselves, they have 2 weapon slots, which The Colossus is the only one that can handy the heavy weapons, and I think is that the only, and it can't use pistols. That might be the
And
only
submachine guns, I think.
Oh, submachine
Yeah,
guns.
submachine guns. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the only? I think that might be the only weapon restrictions as far as
I
the
believe so.
suits
Yeah.
go. They then also get 2 offensive abilities that can differ. Each slot will have like 5 or so different ones, and then a support ability, which I think at launch only has 2 options for each suit, and then an ultimate ability. So the Ranger gets multi-target missile barrage. It's also the only one that can use their ability or their ultimate while flying around. What was it? The Colossus has a giant heavy cannon, basically. The Interceptor has knives that and just lets it spin around as a tornado of blades.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Storm can drop meteors on people. It gets 3 elemental big
Go
attacks.
Sephiroth on them.
Yeah, one of the demos they were doing on a test build, they hadn't labeled all of the abilities yet. So when the Storm guy's ultimate popped up, it just said, I don't know, throw some meteors down on him or something.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Damn it, Donald! Who let you pilot the javelin?
He's using the black materia.
Yeah, and then also from a less obvious gameplay perspective, I guess there are also 6 gear slots which affect the stats, but can also change up some abilities. Like I saw one that added if you were killed someone, it was for the Ranger mech, and if you killed someone with their Seeker Mine, I think it would cause an electrical explosion after they died, so affecting the enemies around them. So it's really meant to customize your stats and abilities even more so than any of the other equipment, to cause, or to let you really focus on getting a variety of builds. Like I was reading up on some of the demo playthroughs, and I think I saw like 4 or 5 Colossus builds already, like that just kind of focus in different areas. Which mostly because I saw that Colossus has kind of been the more difficult one to play.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it doesn't have a rechargeable shield. And it just it more than the other 3 needs its class specific gear, because its class specific gear gives them a ton of extra health and stuff to keep them alive.
Huh.
Yeah, which I think it's just kind of like because the Colossus, it is all about having tons of health and staying alive. So if you're not using your class abilities, you're just going to end up dying. Whereas if you're not using like your class abilities on the other ones to do extra damage, the fights are just going to take longer. Like you're just doing less damage. Because the Colossus is the only one that we've seen that has like tank abilities. Like one of their support abilities is literally to draw. So, and if you do that without the proper gear, you'll just die.
That kind of sucks. I thought that's a really odd choice to make.
Well, I mean, you just have to make sure you're using gear that's meant for Colossus and not any of the general gear. Because even if it's not meant to like focus on health, it'll be like, this gear ups your mortar damage. It also gives you like 3,000 health or something. Like all the Colossus specific gear will just also give you health and stuff, meant to survive, even if it's focused on weapons and stuff.
I don't know. I'm okay with that. Like it feels like it makes sense. Like somebody who's going to be in front lines is going to take more effort to keep alive, right? Like it's going to be a little bit.
Yeah, because they don't have a rechargeable shield like all the other classes, but they have like over double the health. Like the other javelins, I think in the demo you could see would have like 2 or 3 little health bars that comprised up their overall health. The Colossus had like 7.
High HP, I tell you what.
Yeah, and again, the demo only went to level 19 gear, I think. And some people are wondering if there's going to be like a health regeneration stuff or armor or like an armor system where you can build up armor over your health. But we just don't know the in-game stuff yet. So also a big part of it, which this was BioWare, so they it definitely seems like they took this was like an evolution of gameplay from the Mass Effect line. They have what's called primers and detonators on the abilities. Certain abilities like the Colossus flamethrower or fire mortar will the enemies you hit will prime them. So if you or someone else on your team were to hit them with one of their detonator abilities, it would combo off, causing more damage and like more an explosion or something. Those were always popular in Mass Effect. Like they're fun and flashy, and
it's gonna be interesting when you have the parties utilizing primers and whatnot. Because
yeah, you can call out like, hey, they're all set to good to go. If you can make both of your primers, and someone else could have detonators and stuff.
Yeah.
And it seemed like from the little bit I saw, both the Storm and the Interceptor seemed to be more primer oriented, whereas the Colossus was more detonator. I don't know if that's fully going to
be I don't know about the Interceptor. I know the Storm definitely is good about priming because it's good about priming because if it primes and then it detonates its abilities, or I assume if someone else detonates its primary ability, it will spread to surrounding enemies. It will prime like an area effect prime, so you can kind of just chain them off.
Right, and it seemed like the Interceptor had good status effect stuff that also caused priming. So it'd be like poisoned and primed.
Yeah, so they're definitely trying to make each javelin class, whatever, its own thing. Also, they've said that like all the DLC types, all the story stuff or maps or whatever they add will be free.
That's nice.
They will have microtransactions, but anything that they sell for a premium or for any microtransaction type, or it's all cosmetics, and any cosmetics they end up selling for their premium currency can also be earned in game. The only thing, like, and the reason they spelled it out is the only thing you can't earn in game is basically the Legion of Dawn javelin cosmetic that comes with like the deluxe edition. That's the only cosmetic you cannot get playing in game, basically. And they said the only other thing they were thinking of charging for was other javelins down the road. If they decide to, whenever they decide to make more, they might end up charging for them. Which, I mean, some people don't like, but like, I don't mind it because
I was gonna say it makes sense.
They're not charging for like, they don't want to split the player base, so that's why they're keeping all the story stuff free. Like, they're not going to have any big DLC stuff like expansions. They're just going to slowly roll it out with free content. And I mean, if they're doing more work after the game has been like fully released, this isn't something they made and then just sold later. I don't mind it so much.
Yeah.
So everything about your appearance is separated from your like, you don't equip armor, you don't equip a headpiece to get a bonus like for an armor bonus. That's all. It's been separated from stats and appearance like that. But nice. It's lots of customizing. You can customize the look.
Looks cool, even though its stats are bad. You can still kind of
right. There's just no stats, so you just get to make what you think is look cool.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
That's very good, yeah.
So yeah, you can customize the look of like your different armor pieces, and the color and the texture. They have quite a few different textures also that apply. I think I saw someone flying around in just like in a completely chrome storm unit, because the storm likes to hover around. And it was just really shiny.
I can get behind that.
Yeah. And They've also so the devs have been very active on the subreddit, more so than any other game I think I've ever been following. Like, because I did play Destiny for quite a bit, and they had a community manager who was fairly active. Depending on how the community was reacting to certain news at the time.
Was
But
that Siege or
yeah, Deej.
yeah?
But like never just like devs, like the people actually making the game, getting on and just talking with people, answering questions. There are quite a few of them, not just like one. But like I think I can think of at least 3 different accounts that are different devs that are getting on there, including the senior design lead. And they just like all sorts of problems or getting feedback. They like they asked for an entire thread devoted to like just audio feedback, just like
Wow.
what how do things sound, what could we be doing better.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, and then even though they had all the issues with the demo, they were during that, like while they were trying to get all the problems fixed, they were like working with people, answering stuff on the subreddit and Twitter, which I don't think they really have like forms, their own forms. So like I think Twitter and Reddit are like the place where people have been like congregating. So that's where they really spend their time, it seems, when they're talking with the fans. And they've said no to quite a few things. Like they don't plan on letting you just re-roll your gear. But they've also said not at launch, which we can only assume is maybe, to a lot of other features, like even further level of your elemental effect, customizing your elemental effects or the different lights on your javelins. There's no PvP at launch, which a lot of people have responded to positively, just because it means the balance won't get screwed over for PvE, because I know a lot of games that have both will end up favoring PvP and just not care if the balance ruins the PvE aspects of certain things, like different weapons and whatnot.
I would say, like, to give an example, Destiny, at least in the Destiny 1, if you weren't running with a sniper in PvP, like, you were just useless, and it sucked for people that didn't want to run with a sniper. Like, so it's nice that they're not doing that.
Yeah, so originally it was going to be you saw no one in the city, and then when you went out of the city for either free play or missions or whatever, it was capped out at 4 users, or I think per their instance, basically. And based on feedback they got from people, they added a group hub before the game even went gold. They were able to add a group hub in the main city.
Oh no!
So that you just see other people and stuff. And then so that was kind of cool. Like they're definitely listening.
Yeah, it makes it feel more like a world.
Right. Which I saw when watching like gameplay and stuff. The hub is probably where OBS is gonna have the most issue, because that's first person.
Oh.
But it's very slow walking around. Like you're not in a mech flying around and doing stuff. So hopefully you'll be good enough to get to your mech and go.
We'll
you
see.
Can do it. You can do it.
Oh, I'm so nauseous. I'm puking all in my javelin.
Yeah, they also said they're working to get all the stats that people want. Like DP, like how much DPS people are actually doing with what guns to what enemies and stuff. Like APIs, I guess. I remember when they first showed off gameplay at E3, people were like, "Oh, I hate those the floaty combat numbers and stuff." Yeah, which they quickly tweeted out like a picture of, you can turn them on or off, you can customize their size and their opacity.
Yeah.
So they've just been on top of like any sort of issues. Like they had the most recent what's kerfuffle what outrage, like fake outrage, came out from the demo. Had a placeholder slot in the or it had a placeholder area for where you will buy where microtransactions will be. And I think like a skin was like $20, and then there was another tab that said craftables or crafting materials, and basically that led off a
I'm sure
group
it
of
set
people to
off.
just get on Twitter and make clickbait YouTube videos of saying how the game is awful for these things, and then the devs were like, all placeholders, those prices are not real. You cannot buy crafting materials at all, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know. The game definitely took a lot of inspiration from Diablo, where it's how I guess you get your loot, and how the stats apply, even the difficulty ranges. There are 3. I think they call them like beginner difficulties, but those 3 are like easy, medium, or standard and hard or whatever are like your 3 beginner difficulties. And then they have the Grandmaster levels, Grandmaster 1, 2, and 3, which Grandmaster 3 is a 3,100% boost to health and damage. And they said that they plan to add more over time. Like that number, and
Really?
it's very similar to what Diablo has some tier system very similar to that.
Yeah.
It's called. Yeah. There's but yeah, we get the demo coming out at time of recording. It's
Tomorrow?
February 1st is tomorrow, and that's when the public demo starts.
It goes through the weekend, I believe. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You can see how it is. I'm not quite sure. Like, as they seem to be done. They definitely seem to be doing some stuff that seems, the right. They've been doing things right as far as like communication, and the game looks cool, but I'm still very hesitant after other games I've played, again,
Yeah.
especially Destiny. Even if I don't think the game's going to play a lot like Destiny, but it's the same. Like, it's still it's a game as a service or whatever, right? Like the new popular thing.
Yep.
And the Division, and
I think BioWare has a lot riding on this game. That's
Yeah.
probably why they are like trying to make sure to assuage anyone's kind of misgivings on it. Anytime one seems reasonable.
Has BioWare done anything since Andromeda?
No, not since Andromeda. Andromeda's
Right.
still fairly recent.
Right. So I mean, with the giant kerfuffle that was
Right.
Andromeda, I feel like they were.
Well, yeah, this one actually is being worked on by the main studio, whereas that one was some other side studio. I can't remember which one's which though. But yeah, so I myself would probably, I still would recommend waiting at least a month or 2 just to see like how it ends up being supported over time, and if there's actually any in-game content worth, keep you coming back and playing sort of thing.
Is there stuff to do at the end game? Yeah.
Yeah, they've showed off one stronghold in particular, which I think is similar to the raids, and or some similar aspect, at least like it's an in-game activity. But yeah, we just got to see if it's there's enough to keep people going. If the gameplay loop is satisfying enough.
It's gonna have to be a really strong one for me, because I'm kind of in the boat with you, Mao. I mean, the game looks fun, looks cool, great, but I mean, right off the bat, I'm just not a big fan of most Diablo aspects in any shape or form.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a fine game. It does wonderfully well for what it is, but it's kind of like the biggest complaint I have for Neo is like the Diablo loot system.
Yeah, which they have a crafting element to where you can break down loot that you don't want, and then they're actually based on the blueprints you have, you can actually end up crafting in-game gear through the crafting system. So
Oh,
I
that's
just assume it'll be,
Yeah.
it'll probably the rate of stuff you have to break down to actually making something is probably going to be high, but it gives you
I'm betting
something
it's,
to do with your
Yeah.
all of the equipment you're
But
not
the
going to
fact
be
that it's
using.
a possibility is much nicer than other games.
Right.
As
Yeah.
Like
It's-
in
it's-
Destiny, you
it's-
just have to destroy it, and it's
get rid
gone.
of it. Yeah, it's that kind of stuff always like kills me. Like again, there's always other things you can do with it, but never been a big fan of that aspect really. So I'm it's hesitant to say because I mean like it's really cool that you get to play these is like in these things, but they feel more like classes than they sometimes feel like I don't know a mechanized suit so to speak.
Yeah.
And for some people that's great, that's fine. I mean this is really an action RPG, more of an
Yeah.
RPG action really, because it is numbers and whatnot. But so
Yeah.
I think in kind of piggybacking off of that, it seems like it's a game that's great if you have a group of people that you play with regularly. Because again, like
Yeah, I
it's
think
a class, you fill roles, but I don't think it's in Destiny to a degree was the same way. You
Yeah.
can only play for so long on your own, and it really shines when you have people to play with.
Though they did say matchmaking at least will be around for every piece of content, whereas Destiny did not do that.
Yeah,
Good.
they took to Destiny 2 before you could randomly match up for raids.
Yeah.
that's actually good to hear because when a game is so based around the idea like playing with others and whatnot, you need to make that as accessible as possible.
Yeah.
If you don't, then you're gonna falter. And this kind of game being an action RPG game, which has like essentially classes, I'm sure they'll probably release more javelins down the road.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like,
Yeah.
and other abilities for the
Yeah.
existing ones.
Yeah. So it's hard to imagine. So
Need them hills.
Yep. I'm sure there'll probably. You know what? You joke, but I'm sure there's probably going to be a javelin down the road that will have some sense of healing to it.
Yeah, I think they said that was like one of the biggest reasons I think they didn't want to do like the class trinity though is just because they didn't want to have a dedicated healing thing. Because actually, like as you kill mobs or even just I think like probably damage thresholds of like bosses and stuff, they will drop health and ammo.
You know what? I would actually say they probably won't call it a healer. They'll probably call it more of a support.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
The idea would be is that it's more of like a team buffer or enemy debuffer than it is.
Yeah,
actually
like maybe they'll have a javelin that gets 2 support equipments and only 1 offensive one.
Yeah, that might be it.
Yeah,
I guess
something like that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of opportunities. There's stuff open.
I don't know. It's I mean, again, it's probably the only way I'd really play it is probably if like all of us or at least some of us were in it, at least semi-regularly.
Yeah, that's probably the way I play.
Yeah, I think I'm on your guys' thing though. I'm not going to get it at launch, even if I really enjoyed the demo. It'll probably just be a wait and see because these games really live and die by the end game content. Yeah, like what's there.
I mean, I might pick it up at launch, to be honest, but then again, it's partially because I have a really big sweet spot for battle suits and
yeah.
And I am thirsty for that kind of a game.
Yeah, and that's like I remember we were talking about this the first time, and I was like, "Is it gonna be like actual mechs you get to customize?" And Mao was like, "Don't get your hopes up."
It's never gonna be that. You're never gonna get armored core with this gameplay.
No.
Like as much as we would love it.
Everybody saved that sound clip for E3 when we end up getting it.
Mech Warrior Mercenaries is September, I think, last I saw for this year. So I mean, that's coming up.
I'm hoping Anthem will at least be better than we're kind of.
Yeah, I wanted to succeed. I like BioWare.
I do like BioWare. I want this to succeed. I want to be pleasantly surprised. I want this to go above beyond.
Right. I think we all want it to do well. We have our doubts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say doubts as much as reservations.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just mean, I guess. I've been burned before. Is all.
Yeah. I've been betrayed.
Mal's got walls around his heart. Ain't nobody getting in.
And we know how optimistic Tets can be. Let's be honest.
So, Yeah. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully it does really well, and we end up finding this game to be really super fun.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like the devs are really deep into this.
Yeah.
From what you've said, like how much they've revealed already, what we've seen from the demos that have been out, and now the public being out tomorrow.
Yeah, honestly, if they can keep up this communication, it'll be
a good
with
thing.
actual results and
Yeah.
stuff. Like it'll go a long way.
Transparency is awesome.
Yeah, it's the more a company, a lot of people have a respect for that. The more a company goes to being transparent and like asking people what they want and whatnot, generally the better the game comes out. I mean, that's how New essentially succeeded. First, the demos that they released hinged heavily on player feedback and information, and they sent it in, and they incorporated a lot from what players stated, and it ended up becoming really good.
Even Kingdom Hearts 3, I mean,
Yeah.
they got a lot of they invited like streamers and stuff to play it because the 2.8 or whatever, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
a lot of pushback.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they made a lot of changes based on that feedback to make it less floaty and more dynamic. So
Yep. So it's definitely a good thing, and I'm glad to see Bioware's doing this. So hopefully this does mean a really good future for Anthem, and hopefully when it does release, it's a really
yeah, and then we get Jade Empire 2 finally after 20 years. More than 20 years. No, it's not been 20 years. Sometimes I think we're like further in the future than we actually are. It's close.
Let's see. When did Jade Empire come out? That was
Like
that was-
2005?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's definitely there. Resident Evil 2 though was almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it was more than 20 years. It came out in 2019. More than 20 years for Resident Evil 2. So there you go.
And what's the connecting factor here? Something I posted earlier. The voice actor for the mill. 6 degrees of Prince Noctis Lucius Kale.
Great chase.
Yeah, who's getting lots of work. He's
getting
moving
a lot
up.
of work, yeah.
He's the master of masters in Kingdom Hearts as well.
Oh my gosh.
And Noctis Lucius Calum, my boy. So,
Yep.
Walk tall, son. Walk tall. That's all I gotta see.
Just remember, Obs, the flame that burns twice as bright dies twice, like burns half as long or something. I don't remember what the whole thing.
Oh, thanks for that nugget of wisdom, Shinsei. All right, let's get out of here. This has been episode 74 of Podcast of Five Rings, your source of enlightenment in the world of video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of Five Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes and SoundCloud, and talk about topic day out day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Friday. Check us out on Twitter, Podcast 5R, Facebook, P5R Podcast, Meta and them streaming Resident Evil 2. It sounds like it's been a lot of fun. I need to catch up on some of those VODs because I love watching people get spooped.
Oh yeah, it's full of spoops. Let me just tell you, it's only spoops.
Yep, twitch.tv/PSO Flow. So next week we'll probably be back with some of our thoughts on Anthem demo.
Probably,
I'm sure, because we'll all end up playing it at some point this weekend.
I believe this weekend, were we wanting to try to stream it?
We can possibly do that.
I will absolutely stream it. If I can do some on. I mean, actually, well, speaking as this, I can do it tomorrow. It's just that the weekend is really
I might be free tomorrow night.
Yeah, we may even have 2 streams going. We'll see.
We'll see.
2 different perspectives.
All right, guys. Well, until then, look forward. Get all your spoops in. Get your keyblades ready, and your R-wing, and your javelin. I'm very clumsily tying it all together.
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
Come on.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Get in the cane.
Bye.